Arsenal fans, pop your City shirts on. You need us. You need a massive favour from Manchester City. And who would have thought that at the start of the season? Because Arsenal put all their eggs in the we must beat Manchester City basket. They've achieved that this season. They've absolutely achieved it. But what they haven't achieved is another Premier League title, which, I mean, we're looking at nearly 2 decades for Arsenal. So, Liverpool have a very realistic chance of beating Manchester City, let's be honest, and I think they probably will. But they have opened the door for Arsenal. So, Arsenal are going to be begging Manchester City to do them a favour. And, I mean, we would never have thought that at the start of the season. But have a look at this. Arsenal play West Ham. Okay, on Saturday. We obviously play Liverpool on the Sunday. Come and join me for the watch long. It's going to be a feisty one. There's something simmering here. There's something bubbling under the surface here for this title race. And I think Arsenal fans could have something to potentially get excited about. But I think a lot of it hinges on this result, in all honesty. I think City are going to have a massive say in where this title ends up because of this game. Arsenal facing West Ham, a very much out of form West Ham. They're going to be 5 points behind most likely because West Ham have lost 3 out of the last 4 games. They've been pretty poo, West Ham. You expect them to win, so therefore the gap's going to be 5 points, same games. And Liverpool have been very unconvincing this season, getting knocked out by Plymouth. They drew to Villa, they drew to West Ham. They should have drawn to Wolves, in all honesty. It should have been 3 draws in a row in the Premier League for Liverpool, which would have been unthinkable about a month ago to go 3 draws in a row. But they scraped over the line against Wolves. And I remember the second half, they get battered in the second half. I mean, Wolves had 10 shots in the second half. Liverpool had 0. I can't remember the last time Liverpool went through a half of football without getting a shot on goal, and they did. That's exactly what happened against Wolves. So if they do that, if they play like that against City, and the City that beat Newcastle turn up, they're going to lose Liverpool. We're going to beat them and we're going to kick the door down for Arsenal to walk onto a genuine opportunity for a title race. But we've got our own concerns, Manchester City. Of course we have, because we've got to get into the top 4 with Bournemouth facing Wolves the Saturday before. Chelsea face Villa the Saturday before. And the Sunday, the morning before we face Liverpool, Forest face Newcastle. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on around us in our current 4th spot, as you can see. So I imagine Bournemouth will probably beat Wolves. They'll overtake us, maybe temporarily if we were to beat Liverpool. But you imagine Bournemouth will overtake us. I imagine Chelsea could do something. That's a tough one. Chelsea, Villa, that's a tough one to call because Villa are just out of your shot right there in the graphic at least, because I can only fit 8. They're in 9th, Villa. But you never know with Villa. You never know. You never know with Chelsea. So you could see a situation where City are actually in 6th and have been overtaken by both Chelsea and Bournemouth going into this Liverpool game. But I know United fans as well, they like to get involved in these conversations because I know they're feeling a little bit left out right now. Sorry, United. I know you're feeling a bit left out in everything because you want to remain relevant as a Manchester United fan. So here you go, just to let you stay involved and feel like you've got some purpose in this world, United. There you are. I've highlighted you in grey. And just in case you can't see it, that's where you are. So that's United covered. That's established. Liverpool, they could do the double over us, and that's been a long time coming. That, to be honest, hasn't it? With they do it. They tend to do it against the champions. Liverpool, they do tend to do the double over champions. That's not the first time that they will have done it. And of course, Mo Salah, most goal involvements against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City out of any player that we've ever gone up against, with Pep Guardiola as the manager of Manchester City. So he's got our number, Mo Salah, hasn't he? But we've got a new Egyptian prince of our own, and it's going to be the Egyptian prince versus the Egyptian king. And I'm looking forward to seeing. I do think Mo Salah's obviously still a level above Marmoush, but I mean, I think there's going to be a usurping of the throne at some point. They are going to be locking blades at the Etihad, and I'm really looking forward to the game, to be honest. And you just can't call it. I think Manchester City have established some sort of inferiority complex, because if you look at the results in recent weeks, we've actually played some reasonably good football. Even against Newcastle, you'd expect that's more of we're on a level playing field with Newcastle, but we absolutely battered them. We battered them. We took them to pieces at the Etihad, and outside of these big clubs, these big matches, Real Madrid away, even at home, they did the double over us, Real Madrid, in both legs. They beat us home and away, I think Arsenal, we got pumped 5-1. And then PSG, they put 4 past us after we got fortunately ahead with a 2-goal advantage. I'm starting to see a little bit of an inferiority complex, and I think it comes from Pep Guardiola and his honesty, because I think he's in his pre-match press conference, he spoke so honestly about certain sides are just better than us, and I think he gives off that aura to the players, and as much as that honesty will stand him in good stead with the future and the relationship with the players, they will respect that honesty, because they don't want to be lied to. These players, albeit, they're footballers and they want their confidence built up, they're not stupid, they understand the circumstances, and there are certain football clubs out there that right now, their side is better than our side. Real Madrid, Arsenal, Liverpool, they're better than us right now. We've got a long way to go to catch them up in the transfer market in the summer. We'll be doing exactly that, and next season we'll be going toe-to-toe with these football clubs once again, like we have done and overtaken most of these clubs in previous years. They've been trying to chase us, so one season off, you understand it, but the psychology of Pep Guardiola as well is huge, and I think people sometimes oversimplify it, and you could argue that talking about the psychology of Manchester City right now is oversimplifying it, but it all starts there. If you want to blame it on decision making from Pep Guardiola, why is he making these decisions? Because of the certain level of psychology that he's going through right now, and his personal circumstances as well. If you don't have a stable mindset, you make poor decisions in life. It's not that unreasonable to think that Manchester City's problems are coming down to a psychological problem. And I think we just look at the likes of Real Madrid and Arsenal and we don't believe we can beat them. And we get battered by them, in all honesty. And it's no coincidence that the three results in recent weeks where we got battered by PSG, Real Madrid and Arsenal, I think those are the three clubs. But every other side we've played, we haven't played to that level. We've played at a very good level of football and dispatched most sides, And after Liverpool, the following game is Spurs midweek, when we always have problems there. Again, psychological. Why do we perhaps struggle against Spurs? Because it's become a psychological problem that we just seem to have this voodoo against Spurs. Why? No one can explain it. No matter the tactics, no matter the players, we always seem to struggle against them. Psychological. That's exactly why. And we've got them next, So you're hoping we can turn that corner. But after that, I think we should be winning every game. With Plymouth in the FA Cup, there's no fixture that remains for the rest of the season now that makes me think we should not be winning that. So you remove the inferiority complex, you like to think Manchester City should be getting into the top four, but Liverpool next. And I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything, this scoreline. God knows what this game's going to be. I absolutely have no idea which way this is going to go, because Liverpool in particular have added to the uncertainty by dropping their form lately. But let's have a look at the injuries. You've got Joe Gomez out for Liverpool, who's just undergone some surgery as well. Conor Bradley picked up an injury against Villa. And Gakpo is a close call, according to Arne Slot. Apparently, he's a bit of a 50-50. I imagine if he's okay, he'll be playing and probably will take the spot of Luis Diaz, who's been all right recently, got a bit of a fortunate bobble of a goal against Wolves, but I think he could take his spot. And I don't think it's a coincidence, by the way, that Liverpool's form's declined since he's been out of the side. Because he's been the second best goal-involved player behind Mo Salah this season, Gakpo. So he's been a big miss for them. And it just goes to show you miss one player, it has an impact on your season. Shock horror, everybody. Where we've had an abundance of injuries, non-stop injuries for Manchester City throughout this entire season. And we've got more to go through. Have a look at this. Stones, he could need surgery. We could be talking about, if it could be months, according to some of the rumours out there with regards to how serious this is, and he could need surgery. And if that's the case, has John Stones played his last game for Manchester City? That would be a huge shame. It really would be. I mean, he could still be at the football club next season, and I hope he would be, but I certainly don't want to think we're going into next season depending on John Stones, because I think he could be gone after this. I think we need to replace him, because he's not, like I've always said, availability is the best ability, and he ain't available once again. Guy's made of glass, mate, and I feel for him. Haaland, 50-50, kind of similar to Gakpo's situation, really. But I would argue Haaland's importance to Manchester City is much higher than Gakpo's importance to Liverpool. Certainly this season with the goals that he's been getting for us. I mean, God knows where we'd be without Haaland. He's 50-50. I have a funny feeling he might be all right as well. Akanji, Rodri, they're definitely out alongside John Stones, and Oscar Bob, who is still not making it to the bench for Manchester City, nursing back from injury, and apparently picked up a bit of a niggle alongside the fracture as well. So again, when it rains, it pours for Manchester City at the minute. But let's have a look at the predicted starting 11. Let's go with Liverpool, because I think it's quite easy. Really, I think Liverpool, as always, with no injuries, it becomes quite an easy selection. And Alisson Becker in between the sticks. Trent, bit of a knob, isn't he? Just a little bit of a knob. A little bit of a knob, Trent Alexander-Arnold, isn't he? Hope we don't see any of that shushing from him today, because he's a proper twat. Even Liverpool fans are starting to recognise what a twat he is, pissing about with contracts and things like that. Even they're starting to recognise the guy's a bit of an arse, mate. Absolutely. Konate and Virgil van Dijk, absolute beastly centre-backs, those two. Haaland, if he plays, has got his work cut out for him, certainly in the physical department. I think we'll see Szoboszlai a little bit further upfield with McAllister alongside him and Gravenberch to the right of him. And then I doubt we'll see Darwin Núñez after some of the catastrophic misses that he performed against Villa midweek. Gakpo, I think he'll probably play, and if he does, we've got our work cut out for us with this front three. I think Diogo Jota is arguably one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. No one talks about him, man, as an absolute worldie of a player. He's absolutely sensational, Diogo Jota. And what pisses me off is how good he is in the air. How can someone so small be absolutely lethal in the air like that? I've never seen anything like it. Leaps like a salmon, doesn't he? City. Ederson is probably going to be in between the sticks for City. What we do at the back is going to be interesting. What I want to see is arguably what we're going to see differently. I don't think Nathan Ake should play this game. I want him to play this game, but considering we've lost Stones, maybe for the rest of the season, Akanji's not far behind him in terms of duration of injury. We've got two centre-backs missing there that would definitely be available and help us for the rest of the season. You play Nathan Ake, who is definitely in the same vein of injury proneness as John Stones, always picks up an injury. Nathan Ake's just played the 90 minutes against Real Madrid. Testing those muscles against Liverpool 3 days later is risky. It's very, very risky. And if we lose Nathan Ake, then all we've got left is two centre-backs with Kusanov and Ruben Diaz for the rest of the season, depending on if Nathan Ake gets that injury, of course. But I want to see him for his ability. I'm worried about him picking up an injury. I really am. But this is the back four that I would like to see. But there has to be alternatives if Nathan Ake isn't playing and Pep doesn't want to run the risk of losing Nathan Ake. I think we'd have to probably see these two push in, or Kusanov push in field a little bit, and we'd probably have to see a little bit of the old Rico. A bit of the old Rico Lewis at right back, which doesn't fill me with confidence going against Gakpo. You'd probably see him pushing into midfield a little bit more, but Kusanov absolutely calmed my concerns down with regards to as to whether he can play at right back. He can. He's answered that question against Real Madrid. He can. He absolutely can. So for me, what I want to see is this. Whether we will or not, whether Pep wants to take that risk with Nathan Ake, that's the big one. Kovacic seems to have fallen out of favour since Nico Gonzalez's arrival. And I don't know why. I'm still very much in favour of Kovacic, and I would like to see him alongside Nico Gonzalez. I thought when Kovacic came on in the final, 15, 20 minutes against Real Madrid, I think he looked pretty solid, you know. What we're doing in front of them is interesting, and I'm not sure what we're going to do, really. But Savinho and I think Marmoush have to play, and I'm hoping Haaland's fit. Now, that little hole I've left there is up for debate as to whether Kevin De Bruyne, who is not playing much football at the minute, or Phil Foden plays in there. Phil Foden, who I thought I was absolutely shocking against Real Madrid. I thought not only did he play poorly, I thought his attitude dropped to a standard that I was very, very disappointed in seeing, in all honesty. I don't think I've seen Phil Foden have that level of attitude, maybe ever. I was really, really gutted with what I saw from Phil Foden. So upset with him. I really was. He came off, Pep hooked him off. He took a couple of shots, blasted one over the bar, aimlessly, just giving up on the game almost. You know, like, fuck this, having a shot. Who cares? Pep went, right, if you're going to play like that, mate, off you come. So you're wondering if a conversation's happened between Pep Guardiola and Phil Foden since the game against Real Madrid, and maybe he's made him understand that you can't do that, mate. You just can't behave like that on the pitch. Kevin De Bruyne, for me, I think with him not playing that much football lately, surely he's fit, ready to go, you know, but is he going to be able to handle the physicality of Szoboszlai and Gravenberch and even McAllister? He's not big, but he's physical. He gets stuck in. He's a tough tackling little midfielder, isn't he? He's not easy to get past, but Kevin De Bruyne with Kovacic and Gonzalez behind him should give Kevin De Bruyne that freedom to express himself a little bit and not have that worrying need to be as physical, you know, because Kovacic and Gonzalez can absolutely do that for him behind him and give him that platform to play off. But what are we going to do in this game? What City are turning up? What Liverpool are turning up? I've got no idea. I'm going to go 2-2. I feel like the game could be a reasonably entertaining game that finishes 2-2, slightly opening the crack for in the door for Arsenal to walk through and potentially grab themselves a long overdue Premier League title, but you never know. I do think Liverpool will eventually get over the line, and this is just a little bit of a blip for Liverpool. But I think this result defines the rest of their season for them, because if they beat us, I think they're going to go and win the league quite comfortably after that. But what do you think, most importantly? Get in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.